Okay, so imagine this, an AI that knows your entire medical history. I'm talking everything. Well, that's not science fiction anymore. OpenAI just launched ChatGPT Health, and it's a huge new frontier where AI gets to see our most personal, private information. But what happens when we just hand all that data over to a big tech company?
And that really is the big question here, isn't it? Would you trust an algorithm with your medical records? It's a simple question, but the answer is anything but. By the time we're done here, you're going to have a much clearer picture of the incredible promise and the very real dangers of doing exactly that.
All right, so first things first, what is ChatGPT Health exactly? Well, you can think of it as a special version of the AI a lot of us already use. But this one is built just for health chats. It's not the same as the regular do everything ChatGPT. It's supposed to be a separate, kind of walled-off garden just for your medical info.
And here's what makes it so different. It can connect directly to your actual medical records, your lab results, even data from your fitness tracker. So, instead of just vaguely Googling symptoms, you could ask it something super specific, like, hey, based on my latest blood work, what should I know about this new medication? The whole conversation is grounded in your personal health history. That's the core idea. And you can immediately see why that's so appealing, right? I mean, for anyone who's managing a chronic condition or just trying to figure out what some confusing test result means, having an AI that already knows your whole backstory, well, that sounds incredibly powerful. But how does it actually work? Like, what are the steps?
On your end, it's actually pretty straightforward. It's basically a three-step process. First, you give it permission to connect to your health records. Then you just start asking questions in this special health tab. And finally, you get answers that are personalized to you. Simple in theory, right? But as you're about to see, it's in the details where things get, well, a little messy.
Now, OpenAI knows this is sensitive stuff, so to try and build some trust, they've put a few safeguards in place. They're talking about enhanced purpose-built encryption, and they say your health chats are totally isolated from your other chats. And here's the big one. They promise your health data will not be used to train their models. And look, these all sound like really good steps, but they also bring us right to the first major problem.
See, because even with all those technical safeguards, there's a massive gap when it comes to the legal protection of your data. This is what some are calling the privacy blind spot. And this quote from Bradley Mullen over at Vanderbilt University Medical Center just hits the nail on the head. He says, it's a contractual agreement. If you are providing data directly to a technology company, then it is buyer beware. Think about that for a second. When you give data to your doctor, you're protected by federal law. When you give it to a tech company, you're protected by their terms of service. It's a completely different world. And that's really the crucial difference we're talking about here. With your doctor, your data is shielded by HIPAA. That's a powerful federal law with serious consequences for breaking it. It has real teeth. But with ChatGPT Health, your data is protected by a terms of service agreement. That's just a corporate policy, something the company writes themselves and, let's be honest, can change whenever they want. The level of protection isn't even in the same ballpark. And this is the part that privacy advocates are really sounding the alarm on. The very act of you choosing to share your records with a tech company like this could, in effect, strip those records of their HIPAA protection. You might be unknowingly signing away your legal rights over your own health data.
And we're not talking about a small number of people here. An estimated 230 million people are already asking ChatGPT health questions every single week. That means millions of us are part of this massive, real-time experiment, an experiment where our most sensitive health info has weaker legal protections than what we use to buy something online. But okay, privacy isn't the only risk we need to talk about. So let's switch gears and talk about the second huge peril, the fact that sometimes the AI just, well, it makes stuff up. And in the world of AI, there's actually a specific term for this.
It's called an AI hallucination. And all that means is that the AI gives you an answer that sounds totally confident, totally plausible, but it's just plain wrong or completely made up. Now, it's not lying in the human sense, it's just a machine matching patterns. And sometimes those patterns lead to absolute nonsense. If you're asking it to write a silly poem, that can be funny. But if you're asking for medical advice, yeah, that's incredibly dangerous. So the big question is, how often does this actually happen? Well, some studies have pointed to a hallucination rate of around 33% for AI health tools. Just let that sink in. 1 out of every 3 answers could be completely fabricated. And believe it or not, it can get much, much worse than that. Yeah, a study from Mount Sinai found hallucination rates soaring as high as 83% in some of their tests. 83%. I mean, can you imagine asking a serious health question knowing there's more than an 8 in 10 chance the answer you get back is just wrong?
And you might be thinking, okay, but maybe we just need to get better at asking the questions, right? Well, researchers thought of that too. They used expert techniques, something called prompt engineering, to try and guide the AI toward the right answers. And the hallucination rate, it did go down, but only to 44%. So even with experts doing their absolute best, almost half the answers were still wrong.
Okay, so what does all this mean for you personally? Let's take these big abstract ideas, privacy gaps, AI hallucinations, and talk about what they could actually mean in the real world. Well, the risks are pretty serious. You could get some really bad advice and try to self-diagnose something incorrectly. You could get lulled into a false sense of security because the AI sounds so confident, even when it's totally wrong. Then you've got the fear that your data, which is now outside of HIPAA's protection, could maybe one day be sold to insurance companies. And if there's a data breach, your legal options to do anything about it are a whole lot weaker. And listen, it's not just privacy watchdogs who are raising these flags. This quote here is from Dr. Robert Watcher. He's the chair of the Department of Medicine at UCSF, a major university hospital. And he says flat out that if he had sensitive information in his records, he'd be reluctant to upload it. I mean, when one of the top doctors in the country is that cautious, it's probably a good idea for the rest of us to pay attention.
So what can you actually do about all this? Well, experts have some pretty practical advice. First, and this is the absolute most important one, always verify anything you learn from the AI with a real human doctor. Second, be super cautious about what sensitive information you upload in the first place. Third, make sure you understand the legal and privacy limits we've just been talking about. Fourth, just maintain a healthy dose of skepticism. Don't just blindly trust what it tells you. And finally, make it a habit to regularly go in and manage or even delete your data using the tools they give you.
And all of this brings us right back to that question we started with. AI in health offers this incredible promise of personalized, easy-to-access information. But it also comes with these very, very serious risks to our privacy and just its basic accuracy. So, is the promise worth the peril? For now, at least, that's a decision that's entirely up to you.